Most people completely misunderstand what it actually means to register a company in one of the world's smallest and most remote countries. And because of that, they assume it must either be impossible, irrelevant, or overly complicated. But the surprising truth is this. Even in a country as remote as Kiribati, there is a structured legal system for business formation that follows a clear process. And once you understand it, you realize something important. Geography does not stop entrepreneurship, but misunderstanding systems does. And today you're going to learn exactly how company registration in Kiribati works, what people mistakenly call a Kiribati LLC, and how international entrepreneurs think about setting up legal business structures in jurisdictions like this. Now imagine someone like David, a 38-year-old digital entrepreneur from San Diego. David runs an online consulting agency serving clients across multiple countries. He's been researching international business structures because he wants flexibility, privacy, and a more global setup for his operations. One night, while browsing forums and business discussions, he comes across something unusual: mentions of offshore companies in small Pacific nations, including Kiribati. At first it sounds almost fictional. Kiribati is not a country most people associate with business registration. It's a remote island nation in the central Pacific Ocean, known more for its geography and climate vulnerability than corporate infrastructure. But David keeps digging. And that's when he sees references to international business formation options, offshore company structures, and simplified incorporation processes in smaller jurisdictions. And suddenly, a question forms in his mind. Is this actually real? And if it is, how does it work? But here's where things get interesting, because the answer is not what most people expect. Kiribati does not operate a traditional ELCE system like the United States. Instead, business structures fall under company law frameworks influenced by British legal traditions, typically involving private limited companies or similar corporate entities. So when people say Kiribati LLC, what they usually mean is a limited liability company, style structure registered under local corporate regulations. And this is where confusion begins for most beginners. Because they expect a simple online form or instant registration system, but what they find instead is a legal framework that still requires structure, documentation, and compliance. So let's slow everything down and walk through it properly. The first thing David learns is that Kiribati is a sovereign nation made up of 33 atolls and reef islands spread across a massive area of ocean. Its capital is South Tarawa, and this is where most administrative and governmental functions are centralized. Now here's the key insight most people miss. Even in small jurisdictions, company formation is not informal. It still follows legal steps, even if the scale is different from larger economies. But there's a deeper reason why entrepreneurs even look at places like Kiribati in the first place. And it's not just curiosity. It's structure optimization. People are looking for legal environments where business formation is simplified, administrative overhead is lower, and international operations can be structured efficiently. But here's the problem David runs into almost immediately. Information is scattered, outdated, or overly technical. Some sources talk about offshore advantages. Others talk about basic company law. But none of them explain the actual real-world process step by step. And that confusion creates hesitation. But here's where things get interesting. Because once you understand how these systems are designed, the confusion disappears. So let's break it down. In Kiribati, company formation typically involves registering a legal entity through government administrative channels responsible for corporate affairs. While exact processes may vary depending on updates to legislation, the general structure follows a familiar international pattern. And this is the first major insight. No matter the country, company registration almost always follows the same logical sequence. Name selection, legal documentation, registration submission, approval, and post-registration compliance. The details change, but the structure remains consistent. So David begins with the first step, understanding what type of company structure is actually available. And this is where things become clearer. Instead of an LLC, most offshore-style structures resemble private limited companies, where liability is separated from ownership. This means shareholders are not personally responsible for company debts beyond their investment. And that concept is what makes these structures attractive. But here's the emotional twist David experiences. He initially thought this would be a shortcut to building a global business structure. But instead, he realizes something more important. This is not a shortcut system. It is a legal framework that still requires responsibility, documentation, and proper setup. And that realization changes his entire approach. So he shifts from curiosity to strategy. Now let's walk through what the actual registration journey looks like conceptually. The first step is determining eligibility and structure. This includes deciding who the shareholders are, who the directors will be, and what the company will actually do. And this is where many entrepreneurs pause. Because they realize something important. Structure determines control. Who owns what? Who manages what? And how decisions are made. And in international business, these details matter more than people expect. But here's where things get more practical. Once the structure is defined, the next step is preparing incorporation documentation. This typically includes company statutes or articles of incorporation, identification documents for shareholders, and a registered business address within the jurisdiction or through authorized service providers. And this is where David hits a real-world challenge. He realizes he cannot simply click and register a company from abroad without understanding local representation requirements. Because even remote jurisdictions require a legal point of contact. And this introduces a key concept. Compliance presence. Even if a business operates globally, it must still have a legal anchor somewhere. But here's where things get even more interesting. In many offshore-friendly jurisdictions, this legal anchor is often provided through registered agents or service firms that specialize in incorporation services. And this is where professional intermediaries become part of the process. David contacts a consultancy that works with international company formations. And they explain something crucial. The process is not about speed. It is about accuracy. If documents are incomplete or inconsistent, approval can be delayed or rejected entirely. And this is where most beginners underestimate the system. So David takes a step back and carefully prepares everything. He defines his business purpose clearly. He organizes shareholder details. He prepares identification documents. And he ensures everything is consistent across forms. And slowly, the structure starts coming together. But here's where things shift again. He learns that after incorporation, there are ongoing obligations. Even in small jurisdictions, companies must maintain records, renew registrations if required, and comply with basic reporting standards. And this is the part most people overlook completely. They think formation is the end. But in reality, formation is just the beginning of compliance. And once David understands this, his mindset shifts again. Because now, he sees the full picture. Company registration is not just about creating something. It is about maintaining it. And that maintenance is what gives the company legitimacy. Now let's zoom out for a moment. Why do people even consider jurisdictions like Kiribati? The answer is not as simple as tax or privacy, although those are often mentioned. The deeper reason is structural flexibility. Entrepreneurs operating internationally often look for environments where they can legally organize their business operations across borders without unnecessary complexity. But here's the reality check. Every jurisdiction has trade-offs. Smaller jurisdictions may offer simplicity, but they may also have limited banking infrastructure, fewer international treaties, or additional requirements when working with global financial systems. And this is something David has to confront directly. Because forming a company is one thing, operating it globally is another. So he begins to evaluate practical considerations like banking access, payment processors, and international client compatibility. And this is where real-world strategy matters more than theory. Because a company is only useful if it can actually operate in the global economy. But here's the turning point in David's journey. He realizes that the value of this entire process is not just the jurisdiction itself. It is understanding how global corporate systems work. Once you understand that, you can adapt to different countries, different structures, and different legal environments. And that knowledge becomes transferable. Now, let's bring everything into clarity. When people refer to a Kiribati LLC, They are usually referring to a limited liability-style company structure, formed under Kiribati corporate regulations. The process generally involves defining a company structure, preparing incorporation documents, submitting them through appropriate administrative channels or authorized agents, and completing registration approval. After that, the company must be maintained through basic compliance and record-keeping obligations. And while the idea may sound complex at first, the underlying logic is consistent. It is always structure first, documentation second, approval third, compliance ongoing. And once you see that pattern, everything becomes easier to understand. Because you are no longer memorizing rules. You are recognizing systems. And that shift is powerful. So whether you are someone like David exploring international business options, or an entrepreneur trying to understand offshore structures for the first time, the key takeaway is simple. Do not focus on the country first. Focus on the system. Because systems are what make business possible. And once you understand systems, you gain the ability to navigate opportunities anywhere in the world. If you found this guide helpful and want more videos that break down complex global business structures like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel.